I think, as you guys know, number one tennis player, one of the best ever. He is being discriminated against because he didn't take the mRNA COVID jab.
Hey, what's going on, folks? We need to bring more attention to this issue, and we absolutely will. Today, we're joined by DJ, artist, and healthy human being who's banned from the United States of America right now, Akira the Don. He wrote on Twitter recently, "Because we declined the injection, my family and I lost our home, my studio, clothes, things, furniture, equipment. We're still unable to enter the USA. We spent a fortune on rent, visas, replacing gears ongoing, and it's gonna cost 10 grand to get our stuff shipped. All because he rejected the COVID-19 injection, and Joe Biden has a psycho mandate that almost every country in the world has already dropped for incoming travelers."
What we're talking about today is whether to repeal the vaccine mandate on international travelers. Well, what's the logic of having a vaccine mandate on legal international travelers, but not on the millions of people who are pouring across our border? Where's the logic in that? I don't see any logic. It's time for us to join the rest of the free world. You want a list of countries that don't have this mandate? Australia, Japan, Mexico, Canada, Spain, Germany, France, Ukraine. I could go on and on. Am I memorizing a list of countries? No. I'm telling you basically all of the countries in the world. In fact, dictatorships have already gotten rid of this vaccine mandate. Russia, Syria, China, Cuba even doesn't have this draconian.
Novak Djokavic is bringing a lot of attention to this because he's the number one tennis player in the world who probably won't be able to play in the US Open unless Biden changes his psychotic mandate. So we really need to drive this home. Akira is going to join to tell his story today. And thank you to politicians like Thomas Massie and Ron DeSantis who are actually talking about it, because you'd think more Republicans would talk about it. Obviously Democrats don't care, but it's flying under the radar. God bless you. Show starts now.
He poses zero risk to the United States, zero risk to the state of Florida, and zero risk to Miami. So he should be allowed to compete. Now, I would run a boat from the Bahamas here for him. I would do that 100%.
It's the Dream Rare Podcast. Welcome to the show. The way to get the news at the desk or on the road. Let's go. God is great and success in our control. The world is crazy, but we get better from obstacles.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Dream Rare Podcast. I'm here with Akira the Don. Bruh, bruh, bruh.
Yo, my guy, that intro was hard.
Thank you.
I was dancing to the intro. That was a fly intro. Look at you. I ain't seen you for like 3 years.
It's been a while.
I think I saw you the last night they shut down Los Angeles.
No vacancy. Yeah. Dude, you're the best, man. I would just go out
DJing.
Yeah.
That was a great time. That was a beautiful period in human history. The Akira the Don DJing at No Vacancy every Saturday in Los Angeles, period.
And it's dead because Joe Biden stole it from us. Well, first it was a bipartisan lockdown from both parties. Yeah,
there was an orange guy involved as well.
But now you're stuck out of the United States, and we want you to tell your story because Novak Djokovic is bringing a lot of attention to this, and there's tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of people like you that for some reason nobody knows about the story. So what's going on?
Yeah, no one talks about it. It's interesting. Why don't they talk about it? Isn't it interesting and amazing that Novak is called Novak?
I know.
I feel people should talk about that more as well. Like, God is great and hilarious.
Novax, right? It's so close.
Novak. Bah! Yeah, it's very funny. I was living in the USA from 2014. I had an O1 visa, which is it says on your passport, artist of not artist, it says alien of extraordinary ability.
Okay.
That means, which is a cool thing to have on your
That is cool. You're an extraordinary alien, dude.
Yeah.
That's dope.
And it means that no one else in the country can do what you do, so they have to let you in because no one else can do what you do. You are extraordinary alien. You know what I mean? And doing that costs a lot of money. It took a lot of time. We had to sacrifice a huge amount to legally do that. And then every 3-4 years, I can't remember, you have to do it again. And the last time we had to do it was end of 2020. And it was just before shit went down. And basically it got confirmed in when was it? It got confirmed basically May 2020. So it was a couple of months after we left Los Angeles, which is a whole other story. And we had to get out of the country immediately to go and get the new visa stamped. You have to go out of the country, go to an embassy, they stamp it, you come back in. We've done it a couple times, 2 or 3 times before. Usually took like a week or two. So, and our lawyer was like, right, you got to go now, otherwise you're overstaying. So like now. So me and my wife and my son, we packed some little hand luggage type situation and get on the plane. We go to Mexico because it's close. And I always wanted to go to Cancun because I love true romance. And that's where they go at the end of that. On like the eve of my wedding, I watched True Romance on my own. And I was like, in 10 years, I'm going to take my wife to Cancun, which is literally what happened. That's what happened. Anyway, once we got there, because of the whole Tom Hanks disease situation, there were like these queues.
I heard that on the Peterson, you're blaming Tom Hanks for the whole thing. I like that.
Yeah, that's what Norm Macdonald called it, and I keep that legacy going. So Norm Macdonald was like, "That's the Tom Hanks disease, right? That's the one that Tom Hanks." Because if you remember, it was Tom Hanks who did the rollout. It's like, oh, here is the famous guy with the thing. This Tom Hanks. Woo.
Right.
Remember when everyone there was like Boris Johnson in the UK had to have it, and like all these people suddenly remember that shit. It was a long time ago.
It didn't come from a Wuhan lab. It was incubated in Tom Hanks. I believe
that's right.
It could be. Yeah,
it was. Tom Hanks was the literally inside Tom Hanks. He's wired up to a situation. Anyway, that motherfucker. Yeah, they're like, yeah, you're not gonna have an appointment for like 6 months. So we're like, oh shit. So we're stuck out here for 6 months. Okay, that's cool. We'll investigate. Sort of drove around a bit and ended up in Playa del Carmen and like immediately fell in love with the place, and it was beautiful, and made friends with people here, and they let me like build this little studio in their Airbnb type thing. And anyway, when it came time to have our appointment so we could go back to the USA, suddenly they'd done the old switcheroo, and you were not allowed back in the USA if you had not been vaccinated. And obviously, I'm a a beautiful, healthy individual, and have no need of such weird shit. You know what I mean? Like, so I didn't deem that necessary for me or my family, which means that we're not allowed back. The whole time I was paying for our house in Texas and various things. We had a business. We have a business. Everything was running out of there. I got a studio over there, and after paying rent on the place for like a year, we had to let the whole thing go remotely and like pay removal people to pack up our place remotely. Like my wife is running it on FaceTime type thing while they stick out our house and all that shit into crates and put it in a warehouse or whatever, somewhere in, where is it? It's in Texas somewhere.
So you left because you have almost a 4-year something visa where you are you have
I got a new 4-year visa. So what normally happens is you pop out, you get it stamped, you come back in, carry on with your life. You know what I mean? As it was, we popped out with our little bag of luggage type thing with a laptop and a little keyboard, and a laptop, and then basically got stuck out. So, and I was making music. So I was doing all my music just on a laptop and that little keyboard in like a sequence of Airbnbs. And so we found this Airbnb, which they allowed me to like mod out, and it's been a case of basically like rebuilding everything from zero ever since.
And it's been years. So you had a house in Texas. You had a business in America. You obviously had like gigs and stuff.
We literally just moved to Texas from LA because like those crazy weirdos were setting fire to the hood and shit. I was living on Melrose. Like I come up a live stream and the house is full of smoke, and my fucking wife and son are going crazy. My son's like, what's going on? They literally like set fire to the building just down the end of the road.
For the BLM George Floyd
shit.
Thing?
Yeah. They're like those little Antifa little rugrats were like parking their vans and shit outside my crib and like getting all their stuff out the back of there and shit. Like my son, who's like 7 at the time, is like, Dad, what's Bullum? What's Bullum, Dad? I'm like, oh, that's an ancient demon. Why are you asking? He's like, everything says Bullum. I was like, oh, yeah. So you're trying to explain to your 7-year-old why like everyone's dressed in black and setting fire to shit and da.
So that was why you moved to Texas. That was like
there was lots of reasons. It was very creepy in LA around that time. Like and everything was shut down. You know, my reason for being there, like DJing and all that sort of thing, was no longer there. And I'd been planning a move to Texas for a while, which I was coordinating with an old friend of ours who used to work behind a bar at No Vacancy, who drove some of my shit down there, you know. Anyway, so then we go down there and I built 2 studios. I built a streaming studio. I built a recording studio, like in this my first garage. I was so proud. I'd like spent a fortune on a new computer, which I got to use for like fucking 7 weeks. $14,000 on this fucking thing. Got to use it for 7 weeks. It is now, you know, it's a computer. It's useless now.
So it's like you built all this stuff, you moved your family, you had a house, right? You had all the legal requirements. You went to go up your visa. Now you're stuck. And now the thing is, it was temporary for a little while because nobody could travel. But now you could travel to the entire world, basically. I think there's only a few countries, America being one of them because of the Biden administration, where Novak Djokavic can't come, #1 tennis player in the world. He just played in Australia. You could probably go DJ in Australia, but you can't come
I just got back from the UK.
But you can't come
shut down for a while.
But you can't come to the United States of America where you built a life, you have legal attainment to, you have a house and things of such, and you just can't, you're like stuck outside of America.
Correct. I wouldn't say stuck anymore because like now where we ended up is beautiful. And, you know, God moves in mysterious ways, all that type thing. We found a beautiful community of people here. The part of Mexico we're in is a paradise. The people are incredible, very family oriented, very like everyone's healthy. Everyone goes CrossFit and pole dancing classes and
pole dancing
doesn't care about culture war shit. No one gives a shit about culture war stuff here. They think that's funny. When you talk about it, they like think you're joking, like they don't think it's real type thing. So it's a much less it's a much kinder quality of life. You know what I mean? You're not constantly being bombarded from all sides by what they're bombarding you guys with, because you guys are the guys they're trying to take out, you know?
With social media, I mean, obviously you could tap into all of it. Did you feel that? Because I know you've always been, you've always just beat to your own drum. I don't think you've ever like felt the pressure in that way, but just being in Los Angeles or America, do you feel like there's a heavier burden than there just because of how the communities are?
You saw what happened. I mean, you were there. I was in, you know, the sort of stuff that the culture is just constantly obsessed and bombarded with and is the daily conversation with everybody didn't exist in 2013. Right? I'm out there in 2013 and the clubs and DJing and stuff, and like people didn't give a shit about that stuff. Now it's all anyone talks about. In 2013, I remember I was hanging out with some like Odd Future Wolfgang type cats on Melrose. We was laughing about how like gay racism was. They're like, racism's so gay. That's like this weird, creepy shit that like our like grandparents or whatever used to talk about all the time. Like, we don't care about that shit. Like, and then just a couple years later, that was everything. But there was this beautiful little period where no one, you know, it was people didn't give a shit about that sort of stuff. Certainly, and none of the people I was encountering at any of the places I was hanging out, whether it was Little Haiti in Miami, whether it was like Melrose in LA, whatever the fuck, whether it was, you know, New York, whatever the fuck it was. But now that's everything. And it's been this crazy, crazy escalation. But it has not yet penetrated this jungle that I'm in. So this jungle is Cheeto. This jungle is beautiful. Long way to stay that way.
I remember in 2013, 14, 15, because a lot of my friends lived in New York City, before it was like quote unquote woke or like super left wing or anti-Trump or whatever it turned into, it was called hipster, right? And people were generally nice. They were just like skinnier. They had obscure taste in music. They made good craft beer. They made like garlic aioli French fries and, you know, lattes. And like, it was chill because it was like, hipsters were very non-threatening and they were very, I like music, you know, I'm a musician myself. I love to dance. Like when you're DJing, I'm listening, Jackson 5 comes on, you already know I'm busting a move in the club.
Yeah, I already always see you because you like fucking 3 foot above everybody else. You see you appear in the middle of the dance floor. I always remember that shit. You'd be like right next to the disco ball.
Dude, well, I got to a point in my life because when I was younger, you know, and single, I'm looking for women and stuff. And when I met you, it's like I'm a little older. It's like like I got to the point where I just wanted to dance, and it's a burden when you're on the dance floor, like, oh, should I grind on that chick? Should I talk to her? It's a whole mental burden where you're not really in the music, you know? So once like I was already at the point of my life when you were DJing that I don't care who's around. I'm just having fun, and I'm not letting anyone else's weird vibe or, you know, I'm only connecting with the people who are having fun. So it's like I was in tunnel vision. Like my head might be next to the disco ball, but if you put on I Want You Back by Jackson 5, you know I'm going crazy. Like I'm going nuts. That's one of my favorite songs ever. Yeah. Dude. And I know you would drop it too. Yeah, you would drop that too. And you know what the women liked? I remember when you played two songs, and they're very different. Obviously, Back That Ass Up, like the women go crazy. But then a Dancing Queen, dude, at the end of the night when you put Dancing Queen, dude, people went nuts. Like, dude, unreal.
Yeah, well, I was always trying to create transcendent experiences. Like that was my whole thing. Every night I was trying to create a transcendent experience that the people would leave that place and they would carry that energy with them for the rest of their lives, and they would always remember how they felt in that moment. You know, 'cause that's the point. That's what it's for. And you can do that as a DJ. You're putting things together. You're working out, you're like a psychiatrist. You like Carl Junging that thing. That you go, okay, that person there, what do they need? What does that person need? If I add that and that, then this will happen. We'll create this thing, and we can bring everyone together. And if you feel that dickhead energy growing, you can counteract that with some non-dickhead energy and all that type of thing. You know what I mean? It's this constant chess balancing thing, but all the time you're building the energy and you're creating something beautiful and transcendent for the people who are there. Because otherwise, why fucking bother? Like, What are you doing?
It was a special moment too, because we had friends who work there and stuff. Although LA is supposed to be this super quote unquote left wing city, one, we're just trying to have fun. It's like we're not talking about politics on the night, but we had a whole little group at that bar of just like all people that work there, where it was like we had our own little moment, you know, and it's just like
everyone in there was super based because they were dope. Like everyone was dope. It's this weird thing that people in LA feel they have to represent a certain way. I was watching last night, Ice Cube was on Mike Tyson's podcast, and he's just casually, they asked him about what films he's dropping. He's just casually like, oh, Hollywood ain't fucking with me right now because I won't take their fucking vax. He's like,
he said
shit,
that. Nice.
Yeah. But he's like, you know, they'll come back around. I don't know if you followed that, but like he got completely like, you know, ostracized and dropped, and he was like very militantly like, fuck you.
He said he turned down shit. I don't know how much money, but he had mentioned he turned down like a massive deal because they were basically like, you know,
he's supposed to be doing a new Friday movie, amongst other things. Like that guy has been pumping out massive movies for years and years and years. But this is it. People are scared, you know what I mean? And people like, that's why people ain't talking about this thing that's happening, because people are scared. People have got their fake vax cards and shit. They don't want their hustle fucked up. You know what I mean? They want to be able to go do their conferences and get their money and all that kind of thing. I got homies, they were like, oh, what should I do? Oh, I could go do a tour in X place, but I really don't want to fucking take it, da-da-da-da-da. And most of them did early. Most of them buckled real quick because people don't want to miss opportunities. They scared.
We talked about the good moments in LA. I want to talk about a moment that you had mentioned that kind of left you out of LA, because I experienced it too. So I actually left LA and went to my friend's house in the suburbs. I saw the whole lockdown and I was like, you know what? Like I had a friend with extra space. I was like, let me go there, because I lived right in the middle of Hollywood, you know, where it was like, it's probably not the best place to be if I can get. So I got out, and then I realized that I wanted to leave LA because I felt like the lockdown, everything was getting crazy. So I went back for 1 month. I said, I got 1 month. I gave my 1 month notice, and I'm like, I got to get all my stuff, get out. I don't know where I'm going, but I know I'm going. So I'm talking to friends, this and that. That's when the riots happened. And I want to hear your experience about it, because LA was already crazy. Hollywood was already like madness, but it was fun when there's tourists. You got like 1,000 Japanese tourists. Take away all the good parts of it, and that's what the lockdown was. It was like only the demons, the street lurkers, the crackheads, like nothing was alive. And it was like the night of the Walking Dead, even before the George Floyd riots, which made it crazier. But like, what did it look like to you, like during the pandemic? Because it's like the life was sucked out of LA, and it was like, even just going to IHOP was like an adventure. I felt like I should have had a bow and arrow, because like, you know, it's that crazy.
No, that's exactly what it was. That's exactly what it was. He was like, oh shit, we've manifested that 80s movie, that dystopian 80s movie that was made 1,000 times, whether it was fucking RoboCop or fucking iZombie or whatever the fuck it was. Like, that was it. Because you know this place is like it's like a movie set anyway. But all the characters, the normal people, the life, as you said, has gone, and all that's left is the crackheads and the psychopaths and fucking military types. At one point, there was like after they went crazy on Thingy Bob, where I live, the name of which just escaped me.
Downtown or no? Melrose?
Melrose.
Yeah.
I had a studio downtown. Melrose, after they looted that and trashed it and everything, it was real sad. I had a friend, they had a coffee shop, and I had two friends who had coffee shops. And one of them, they'd put a sign in their window saying like fucking, we love Blum, ACAB, all that type thing. And these other ones, these Russians, they did not have that sign. And everyone was shut down, right? And they let it back open on this Friday. And then on Saturday, the riots happened. So no one had been able to make money for fucking months, right? They're all, they all got loans. They're all fucked. They're all, this is little people's businesses, little people's coffee shops. And, but they kind of, some of them knew what was about to go down. And like I said, just like in the Bible, when you put the thing on the door, say, God, don't come here and murder my kids type thing. They'd got the sign up in the window, pledging fealty to the new religion or whatever. And the other one didn't. Like I said, they didn't even think about it or whatever. And guess who got their windows smashed? Guess who got their whole place trashed? And guess who didn't? Guess who got left alone? You know what I mean? And then after that, and it was real sad, they'd been open a day. And at the end of that day, I remember that I was like, they were so happy because they'd made money. And he was like, I think we're going to be okay. I think we're going to get through. Next day, I go out there and his fucking place is all smashed up. I feel so bad for that man. But then after that, the military turn up, right? So they clear the streets. There's no one there, but there's fucking big military vehicles and just like fucking the army are there with guns and shit. And like, I'm the only person walking around with my son like, hey, what's up? How you doing? Type thing. It was a movie. It was a movie.
What you were saying too, the timeline of it, I didn't hear that many people mention it, but I saw right through it. All right. You got months where businesses aren't open, especially in LA. That's a place where like businesses weren't open. It was like the day they were supposed to open. It was literally within the couple days where it's like,
it was 24-hour period.
24 hours. It's like, hey, the sun came out. Let's open our doors. And that's when the media brainwashed everybody into killing the businesses. I really think that's what it was. It was like, oh, businesses are going to thrive now. Let's brainwash all the lemmings to go beat down the businesses that we just beat down. We beat them down economically. Now they're going to get beat down physically. Unless it's just the most spontaneous coincidence ever. Like, oh, we're open. Oh, wait, no, there's a brick through our window now. What a shocking, weird turn of events.
Yeah, and we knew it was going to happen. It was everything. It's so funny looking back. It's such a weird dreamlike thing because we all knew what was going on. Well, I say all. A lot of us knew what was going on, and you could see what was going on. It was all telegraphed. It seemed very obvious what was happening. It's like all this stuff they're talking about. My son's birthday is January 6th. So is Alan Watts. His birthday is also January 6th.
Okay.
And I remember I was out with my son on his birthday, and all that stuff was on the TV, and in a place we were in. And it looked fake on the TV. And then I look on Twitter and there's instantly all these videos of people being shown around and letting through doors and shit. It was very obvious what it was immediately. Then years later, there's still this weird debate about, oh, now we've got footage to prove it was like everyone already knew. It's really fucking strange. Shouts out to my guy Scott Adams and his 2 movies, 1 screen, because that's really true. Like 1 screen, but people see completely different movies, seeing exactly the same stuff, getting exactly the same information, and that's where we're at. It's amazing.
So now you're in Mexico?
Yeah.
What's your plan? Like, say in May, Biden opens up America, or the backlash is so strong because Djokavic is bringing so much attention to it that Biden caves and says the travelers can come in. Whenever that day is, do you come back or are you over it?
I'll come visit the homies. There's a whole bunch of opportunities I lost. I was asked to be on certain TV shows and podcasts and do shows and this, that, and the other. All of that got taken away, So much got taken away. But like I said, so much got given. It's, hang on. That's like just outside my door there. It's very nice. Oh,
yeah, it's beautiful.
But it's real beautiful, and so I can't do that to my family. Just keep fucking yanking them around. Like my son, he's 10. You know what I mean? Also, you don't know what these motherfuckers are about to do next. You know what I mean? And like, that's the period we're in. So like, they change some stuff tomorrow. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, George Bush gif. You know what I mean? But
Right.
like, I'm really looking forward to visiting the people that I care about. Like some of our friends from No Vacancies getting married. They wanted me to DJ their wedding, like in Big Sur. Like that's happening like June, I think. You know, things like that I would love to be able to do. And
Right.
yeah. But this where I am, like God blessed us. It's an incredible place. The people are incredible. Like, you know what I mean? Everything that comes your way will be a blessing, you know, if you tool yourself and align yourself correctly and pay attention. You
You,
know?
yes, sir. You're from UK. You're in Mexico. You've been to US. You've traveled. What do you see as like? Because I've always thought historically, America, the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, we're more
Mm,
free than Europe. But now with
mm.
this vaccine mandate and the big pharma tyranny, it seems like we're worse. I mean, we are worse in this category.
In
Like,
some ways, yeah, in some ways.
what are the pros
Like,
of America and what are the cons for someone who's been to both?
well, the cons of America are is the creature that has captured America, and the pros are the people. You know, and I believe that the people will win, and I believe the people will triumph, and I believe that the people will cast out the demon that has attached itself to that beautiful place. And I loved my time in the USA. I loved it so much. Like, it brings tears to my eyes thinking about it. It was everything I'd imagined as a little kid. You know, I was thinking about like when I was 11, like Ice Cube was like my favorite rapper. I stole his CD from a bin in Woolworths, which was a shop, which doesn't exist anymore. But Death Certificate exists, you know, that still exists. Like he was always, and the story he told, the vision of America he told wasn't a beautiful one, but it was a true one from his perspective. And it's the same with whether it was Johnny Cash or Tom Petty or all the people I'd loved all my life who came from that place. And when I went there, I found everything and more. And that place gave me so much, and the people of that place gave me so much, and I carry that in my heart always. And I love the USA, and I love the people of the USA, and what the USA is supposed to mean, I believe in with every fiber of my being. And you know, it's up to the people of the USA to reclaim that, and I think they will. You know.
Absolutely. So, real quick, I just want for people that are joining, some people pop in and out at different times. You know, a lot of people don't know this because they think that we won and we beat medical tyranny. It's a thing of the past. But yeah, I mean, clearly not. But I even saw, honestly, in Florida, people took videos that at the Florida Capitol, there's like a pop up Walmart and they're giving out vaccines like in the Florida Capitol. And it's like, disgusting. But you know, as far as travel, there's millions of people like Djokovic and Akira the Don. There's families. There's people who can't attend weddings. There's people who can't see their kids. There's people who own property in America that can't even access it, like Akira, because of this crazy law. So, you know, I think if Republicans put their energy, and I'm not blaming Republicans because it's Democrats' fault, I think, for this, but it does seem like Democrats don't care. And when Republicans kind of get outraged, sometimes there are results, and they're always outraged about certain stuff. But I just I feel like Thomas Massey, DeSantis, there's a few people talking about it. It's almost like they don't realize this exists. And because of Djokovic, there's going to be this massive spotlight on this topic for the next 2 weeks. And it would be very wise for us to drive it home because it's embarrassing for Joe Biden. Most Republicans don't even really know that much about it. So just imagine Democrats. And I don't think Democrats support it. Why would you be able to travel to China, Russia, probably Syria, you know, Ukraine, but you can't travel to the United States without a COVID vaccine? This isn't a popular thing. This isn't a logical thing. If this was brought to light, I believe even most Democrats would be against it because it doesn't make sense. So, you know, we really just got to shed some light on it. And Akira, anything else you want to say about anything?
There's so much to say about everything, right?
Hey, the world is yours. I'm gonna give you 3 hours. Go ahead. No.
I got to go do my Spanish lesson in a minute, God bless, because it's very important that I integrate with the culture, you know what I mean? And be able to speak to people in the language they speak and all that type of thing. But yeah, it's been beautiful seeing you. And shout out to everybody who, you know, what this really showed us who everybody was. You know, we learned the truth about each other, and that's a beautiful thing. And some people, maybe they let us down, and some people did not let us down. You know what I mean? Ice Cube's a bad motherfucker. Shouts out to Ice Cube. You know what I mean? Ian Brown's a bad motherfucker. Richard Ashcroft refused. He was headlining a festival, refused to do it because they were requiring people to be vaccinated to go to the festival. Like, there's some bad motherfuckers out there. People will always like to me, like, oh, why don't you take the fake vax card? You know, and it just seems insane to me to engage with this demon system that wishes to enslave you on any level.
Right.
Because, yeah, you could fake a card today. You won't be able to fake it in the future because it will be digital and it will be implanted in your fucking skull.
Right.
And if you let them build this fucking prison with your participation, what can you say to your kids? You can't say shit. You know what I mean? Like, if all the people I knew who were against it and didn't want to do it refused to engage, it would not have been a tenable thing. So many people went along with it for all their various excuses and reasons and yada, yada, fucking yada. Had they not, it would be a very different situation. You know, we know that's a historical fucking truth.
Yeah,
but like I said, yeah, go on.
I was just going to say, I've been saying that the whole time. I understand everybody has their reason, but if you fake a vax card, you're just as complicit as people playing along with it. I mean, you are literally...
In some ways, you're more, because you know it's like, you know the what's unfavorable about the whole situation. You're not brainwashed into thinking it's like lollipops and candy and you're the goody-goody. You know what I mean? You know what you're fucking doing. You in a way, it is worse. But,
I agree.
Whatever. I ain't gonna judge nobody or whatever. Everyone got their shit to deal with. Everyone's got their reasons for doing their things, and it ain't easy for nobody out here. But you know, we're gonna be presented with more of these situations and more of these decisions, and I think the next one, which might be tomorrow, let's bear all this stuff in mind. And let's all stand together a bit more, those of us who are aware what the fuck is occurring. You know what I mean? Because it goes by pretty quick. You know, like, you think, oh, shit, I can't go do that gig next week. I really want to go on that TV show in 2 months. Fucking stand firm. You'll be able to go on that shit in a couple months, a year, 2 years, whatever the fuck it is. But it will still exist. We're at this situation where certain things that we've taken for granted all our lives might not exist. They might not be there for our children to enjoy. You know what I mean? Unless we hold on to them.
And no hate, but yeah, it's a numbers game. So let's just learn from this one, and hopefully we have the resistance for the next one. I want to say real quick, you said, you know, when you were DJing, you saw me out there because I'm tall and I was above everyone else. You know, listen, this is a journalistic question, so don't feel free to, you know, you don't have to just roll out the red carpet for me. But you know, do I have dance moves? The people want to know. Do I have some moves out there?
What do you think? Holy shit. Yo, this is like a fucking bad motherfucker here. This is like 7-foot John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever. You know what I mean?
I'm 6'3", but hey, I'll take 7 foot. That sounds great. No, but I appreciate it.
6'3" John Travolta in Saturday Night Cleaver with the cleaver. Yo,
you heard it here first, folks. You already know. All right, thanks for joining, Akira, and yeah, we'll try to get the word out so you could get back here in some capacity.
Yeah, you're a bad motherfucker. We love you. We appreciate everything you're doing for this fucking species at this most important juncture in the human story. God bless you.
I'll see you on a dance floor somewhere in the world in the next 3 years. All right?
Yes, you will.
All right. Thanks for being here.
Super.